So, serious question. Who do you think I'm gonna be siding with here? Alright, let's begin with my argument on why Tennyson is a propagandist and Owens is the only reasonable choice in this matter, okay? So my selected quote works either way as a defense or as a like a destruction of Tennyson's work. Initially, I chose three sets. Holy moly! 3 lines. Two sets of 3 lines. That was really hard. Firstly, there's not to make reply, there's not to reason why, but there's to do and die. So, to me, this reads very like destruction of individuality. It's odd that this is such a noble thing that it's being presented as, when this is extremely dehumanizing. These people are not referred to by name, simply as numbers, as they. And it's something that Owens recognizes when he writes his poetry, because the death rate was so much higher in his era, and I'll get into the history in a moment. But the second selected 3 lines that I have are, "Into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell, rode the 600." Both of these poets play around with the idea of like fate, inevitable death. But here it's so odd to me. There's no, I know intuitively that this poem is meant to honor and glorify dying for your country, but it only reads to me as a meaningless sacrifice, people being used as pawns, and there's, which is why I am implored to side with Owens, because I just feel so strongly that that war is such a huge wrong that no amount of positive language that's glorifying these battles can ever get to me, because I understand how horrific it is. And I think that the use of imagery that Owen does is so important. This visceral, horrific, once again, my apologies. This extreme, grotesque depiction of not even violence, but just one instance, that not only depicts a shift in the tactics present in war, but also just how wasteful these efforts are, how innocent people are being sacrificed for no reason other than because we can't handle being diplomatic. So I to best exemplify this, I was reading and I was typing out the quotes, and then I would look at the next line and I'd be like, oh no, that's much worse, I have to use that one instead. But what I ended up settling on was, "Come gnarling from froth corrupted lungs, obscene as cancer, bitter as the cut of vile, incurable sores on innocent tongues." So not only do we have here just this gross imagery, but we also have this lamentation, almost this sad memorial of a person who's unnamed. Implicitly, it's hundreds of people, but just one person who died for nothing. This innocent man who died for no reason. It's not. Human life is too valuable for you to sit there and sacrifice each person like they don't have a name, like they don't have a family. And I think that's really the point that Owen is trying to get across, is like, this is not glory. This is just us being treated like pawns. And he even goes past the grotesqueness and the violence to say, in all my dreams before my hopeless sight, he plunges at me, guttering, choking, drowning. He's not just remarking on the violence at this point. He's saying that there are lasting effects, that this witnessing these horrible instances of violence changes him. It haunts him. It's in his dreams. He can't escape this. People are not meant to witness things like this. And I just, that's why it will always be more convincing on his side than on Tennyson's side. Tennyson does not live in reality. If we're going to talk about warfare, we have to talk about the current state of war, okay? Which brings me to the historical context behind these two. Owen's poem was written during World War I. World War I completely changed what war meant. Many, many, many more people were dying. It was no longer noble, it was just dying. There was horrible conditions, rationing, infection, disease spreading through trenches, trench warfare altogether, tanks. It created stallmates. My bad if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I've only ever read it. It's just, it's a completely different scenario than what Tennyson has written about. So what Tennyson is saying is completely inapplicable, because the reality is not that anymore. It can't even be made out to be a glorious thing. It's just death. You're just dying. You're not dying for any good reason. Life is precious, and it's wasted on these young men are dying, basically. I'm excited to see how people defend Tennyson. Thank you.